I've always been very interested in the Titanic. I don't know where that comes from, but I always have, like everyone. And I guess with the film coming out, there was a lot of hype about the Titanic. Then in November of 1999, I found out that there was a large exhibit coming to Toronto at Exhibition Place. So I met my friend, and we went to see this. It was so well done. They had sound effects, a very personal touch. And I know this sounds crazy, but from the moment we walked in, it created an atmosphere, very calm, somber, serious.
Tsunamis, plane crashes, hurricanes. It seems like every time we turn around, there's news of another disaster, death in unexpected places. You've got to think that if there are ghosts anywhere, they'd be bound to cluster around moments and places of violent death. Hi, I'm Lawrence Chow. Today in Ghostly Encounters, we meet two people who believe they've seen apparitions connected to death by disasters, both big and small. First, we'll meet Dawn Franklin, a woman fascinated by that most notorious of sinking ships, the Titanic. But Dawn's fascination turned to fear when she bought a lump of coal from the doomed ship, a souvenir that she believes led her to a terrifying encounter.
At one point, they had all of the names of the victims on the walls, and there was, I believe it's more than 1,500 victims, a lot of names, and they were all alphabetical. And so, of course, you look to see if your name is there. The first thing I did was to look for my maiden name, and it was not there. And I even looked for my mother's maiden name because she's from England as well, and I knew that the ship had a connection with England. And then I looked for my married name, Franklin, and there were two names there. One was a Charles Franklin, and the other one was, I believe, a TP, the initials Franklin. Whether or not that's significant, I have no idea. Now, it was significant to me because it's just kind of upped the emotion for me, because you're thinking, maybe, what if, and just got you more into the zone. There was a souvenir store there with mostly reproduction items of China and photographs, reproduction jewelry, bracelets. I remember one that said Amy. And then, lo and behold, by the cash register, I could not believe my eyes, authentic coal from the Titanic. And I was astounded, and no one was looking. They were all looking at the replicas, and I thought to myself, I couldn't believe, it was disbelief that it was even being sold. So my friend was saying something about the China, and I said, look, you can get coal from the Titanic. This was actually there that night. I picked up this box of coal, and I purchased it. I had a piece of that night, that experience, I had it with me, and I would treasure that. I thought it was there with all the emotion. That's what went through people, all the thoughts, all their fears, their lives coming to an end, and this was there. This was on the sea bottom along with, you know, the artifacts, personal effects, people, whatever. It was there. And we had already planned when we were going downtown, because we were at Exhibition Place, we would go over to medieval times, which I had never seen, she had never seen. I started to feel very unwell. My knees at one point were just shaking, just like this, and I thought, I can't eat anything. I shouldn't even be here. But I knew what was in my purse I should not have. I may as well have had, you know, a severed hand in my purse. I wanted to get rid of it. I've never felt like that before. Very intense. Well, later that day, there would be no doubt in my mind that that was coal from the Titanic. I felt this tremendous urge to put the coal back. And that exhibit was closing, and I could not get back in to put the coal in. I can even remember looking at Lake Ontario, knowing it was there, and thinking I could put that back in water, and then I thought, no, that would be really the wrong thing to do, not treating it with respect. And I said, let's just go home. So I went inside, and it was around 11:30, I guess, and my son said, "How was it?" And I said I wasn't prepared for the effect that it had on me, and I actually bought a piece of coal from the Titanic. And he said, "Where is it?" And I showed it to him. And he just looked at it and looked at me, and he said, "I don't know why you would get this." My son went off to bed. My husband was getting up early the next morning. He went off to bed, so it sat on the kitchen windowsill. And I was very keyed up still. Now, I stayed up, and it was just after 1 o'clock when I decided to go to bed. So I left it where it was. No way was it going upstairs. And again, I thought, I'll deal with it tomorrow. So I went up the stairs, which I had done for the previous 20 years, into the bedroom. And my habit has always been, I go over, and my husband always has the blind completely shut. I like it up, so I always put it up. So it's up a good distance, not completely up, but halfway up. And I went back, got into bed. And for whatever reason, I looked back at the window. Here was a face at the window. And I screamed, and I just dove into my husband's back. And of course, he immediately woke up with me screaming. He said, "What is it? What is it?" And there's a face at the window. And of course, it was nothing when he looked. And, you know, it took a lot of, "Are you sure?" It was a man. He was staring in, head and shoulders. And we're on the second floor. There's no way it was a person out there. This would be a man in his late 40s, like a disheveled look, a dead look to it. It was like a stare, you know, someone who's really peering in. I think it was a dead person, but with their eyes open. I don't know. That coal since 1999 is in a corner of my house, and I have shown it to my immediate family and a special aunt, but that is the only person that I've ever shown it to, because I knew that she would appreciate it for what it is. This coal now doesn't frighten me like it did, but I feel that it's in my charge now. I must look after it and treat it with dignity and respect.
Was Dawn's souvenir linked to somebody who went down with the Titanic? Our experts say many cultures believe that physical objects can be a connection with someone in the past, whether alive or dead. There's an example of that in Christianity, where relics associated with dead saints are believed to convey healing powers.
My feeling on the whole thing was that I was receptive. That's the only word I can say. Maybe these things are there, but you have to have the door open or invite it through. I never want to get into that state again. I don't want to be receptive like that again.